Welcome to another episode of Over the Line. Me and Justin are actually going to talk about two things that happened this week. Some interesting things that happened this week. For example, Oprah Winfrey potentially being the Democratic frontrunner for presidency in 2020. Justin, what the hell is going on in America?
Well, why don't you give them my poll results? Because I actually put up a poll
Yeah,
this.
let's talk about this because Justin recently actually put a poll up through our page, LitTube channel, at LitTube_channel. Where he asked who would be a better opponent for Donald Trump in the 2020 elections. The choices were Oprah Winfrey, Joe Biden, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or a progressive like Bernie Sanders. Well, 36% actually went with Oprah, while 70% went with Joe Biden, 22% went with The Rock, the people's champ, and 26% went with Bernie Sanders or some other progressive. This is also out of 175 votes. And the poll's still going, so go over to our Twitter. You can find our Twitter name down below and go vote. But what in the world is going on?
I'll tell you what in the world is going on. Oprah made a highly visible speech at the Golden Globes, and all of a sudden everyone is all about trying to get her to run for president. And the funny thing is, when I first put up this poll, I noticed now she's around like 37% or whatever, but when it got started, she was over 50%.
Shot off. Yeah, it was crazy. I remember, we're watching this. I'm like, man, this is the public. This is, of course, not related to anything DNC related or anything, back to any super PACs or anything. But this was like our Twitter poll, and like a significant amount of people were saying Oprah Winfrey, no question. And it's funny, people, Democrats, specifically liberals, were even saying, their biggest argument against Donald Trump was he's not a politician, he has no, real experience in politics. And that made me laugh. And that was one, just one thing I couldn't say. I couldn't say that about Donald Trump because I am a firm believer that, like it was written in the Constitution, or at least how the Founding Fathers planned it, not so much in the Constitution, my apologies, but it was almost like, okay, you left your farm, you did your public office, you did it for however long the period was, and then you went back to that farm. It wasn't this career politician. That was never in the plans because it was supposed to be a position for the people, to be a politician. And of course, when people say, well, he has no experience, yeah, that's true. And of course, he's definitely not even close to being the president I would have wanted. But, them saying that was funny because Oprah isn't a politician either.
Well, not only is Oprah not a politician, she's also a billionaire, just like Trump, and we don't know what her policy positions are. I've always been of the opinion, when you're running for office, even if it's like the president, yeah, it would be nice to have some government experience, I guess, if you're going to be president, but at the same time, what really matters is, what are you fighting for? What are your policy positions? What do you want to do when you get into the office? Is really what matters. And
that's another thing. It's like, I've seen a lot of reports about this over the last week, but I haven't seen any reports saying that Oprah wants this. That's what's hilarious to me. It's like, I've heard reports where The Rock said he turned in his paperwork or something to run for president or this, that, or the other. But in terms of Oprah, I haven't heard anything in the news about her wanting to do this. That this is her plan going forward.
It's just a matter of, I think, in this country, we're starting to have an issue where we want to latch on to a celebrity and see them do this. And I think, it might be something that started with Donald Trump. This could be a continued theme. It would be an unfortunate theme, I think, if it continues this way. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think when you're a citizen of the country and you're talking about politics, of all things, you want a candidate that's going to push for things that are helpful to you, your family, your friends. So you're propping up someone that you don't know what their beliefs are. All we really know about Oprah is that she obviously isn't comparable to Donald Trump because when she was asked in an interview, she was like, I'm with her. So we know she prefers Hillary to Donald Trump, but we don't really know anything more than that. We don't know what's going to happen if she becomes president. Is she going to fall to the corrupt establishment and bend to their will? Is she going to, push for things that aren't progressive? Or what is she going to do? We don't know. And that's why I think it's kind of curious that so many people would be so quick before knowing what her positions are to say they'd vote for her.
Yeah, I remember Monday morning I texted my mom and I was like, why does everyone want to vote for Oprah? And, you know, I laughed because I remember I said, I was like, I'm not just going to vote for a person because my grandma used to watch the Oprah Winfrey Show or because she did an awesome job in The Color Purple. Those aren't the reasons I'm going to vote for her. I want to know what she stands for. And I get it. You know, there is, in a sense of going for a billionaire, there is a sense of, well, they can't be swayed because they have their own money. And I think that was the appeal of Trump because he's this rich billionaire. He doesn't need donors. He doesn't need money. He does what he wants and he says it how it is. That was, you know, what a lot of conservatives thought. And I guess I could see that appeal. Well, she's not going to be worried about taking money from people because she's one of the richest people in America. And that can be a little, I can understand. That can be very tempting. But again, I honestly am the firm believer that I would like to see a new face, honestly. Me personally. I would like to see a new face pop up on the scene and maybe someone younger that represents maybe someone closer to my age group, you know, the 25 to like 35 group, rather than another old person just running office. Like, I'm tired of seeing older people, especially billionaires. I'm not going to lie. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think in general, there's really too many old people in the government. I think we need fresh faces, especially in like Congress. And it's also one of those things where because we have so many old people in the government, I feel like all the good policies they come out with generally are catering to old people. It's not really helping the younger people much.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about Orrin Hatch from Utah who retired from the Senate. Retired. I'm sorry. The Senate, the Congress, these aren't positions you should retire from. These are, you should be, that's the problem. I think with presidents, they set term limits. They should set term limits on Congress, but that's a different story, probably for a different episode we're going to get into. But a simple, I'm just done with old people in politics. I mean, people that were born before, 1960 probably should not be running for office still.
Absolutely.
Even worse if you've been in office since 1960.
I mean, term limits on the president, but we gotta have term limits in Congress. Doesn't necessarily need to be 4 or 8 years. Maybe make it 12. But you can't be having people retire with their special pension because they're in the Senate for 20 years or 30 years.
There were people, and maybe still are, people in Congress that are pre-Civil Rights era. Like people that have been in office since before the Civil Rights Act was passed. That's scary to me. That it's like, wow, you guys were in Congress that whole time that the country is really fucked up. Like, cool.
Which, by the way, I wouldn't be so, just to go off what you said earlier, I wouldn't be so quick to assume that a Trump or a Oprah, just because they're billionaires, wouldn't bend to the will of the Washington establishment.
They want more money.
There's a certain culture you get into when you're a super rich billionaire, and part of it has to do with, okay, I'm going to now help my rich friends.
Yeah, it's called favors. Hello to the new tax law that we have. Come on.
Exactly. And, again, I don't think Oprah would go along the same lines like Trump would do with that, like that, but we don't know. We don't know for sure because no one sat her down and be like, what do you think about this, this, and that, and the other? So.
And she hasn't confirmed. This is honestly, again, with the DNC, after what happened with the primaries, little to no confidence in the DNC. And this is just another example of the DNC really probably just trying to get a lot of buzz because the 2020 elections aren't that far away. So they're trying to get a lot of buzz. They're trying to get, people involved and people excited. And they need a name to get them excited. Let's be honest here. As much as neither one of us probably cared for Hillary Clinton, she was an exciting name to the younger generation. She was a woman. Not saying there's anything wrong with a woman president, but she would have been the first female president. She really was, I think, in terms of for equal rights for LGBT community and stuff like that. I think she stood for them, and it was a very exciting name. I think for a lot of people it was. Just like Trump was probably an exciting name for conservatives. This is a new face, a new name. This is someone that's in the media. We see his face all the time. And I think that's what they're going for with Oprah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, she could be a good president. I don't know. I don't know what she stands for. I don't even know if she wants to run. But it's funny that this is in the news that the DNC is possibly, or Democrats in general, are looking to try to get Oprah to be president.
Yeah, and 2020 is far away. We don't know who's going to be in it yet, and there's almost no reason to speculate at this point. But I think my dream matchup would be like a really far left person, like progressive, like Bernie, but maybe someone like younger than Bernie that shares his views versus like a libertarian. Honestly, though, it's going to be Trump or someone like Pence if Trump gets impeached or something, off chance.
We got a long 3 years ahead of us.
But it's going to be someone you would think from that administration versus whatever the Democrats put up.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to be.
I mean, there's quite a few out there, of course, but I don't know. Like I said, if Oprah comes out and she stands for things that are good, yeah, I'll listen to her. That's the thing, and I think that's the problem with this country. It's like we're so quick to just, well, the Democrats are doing this or the Republicans are doing this, so I got to do this. No, listen to both sides. See what's up, Go from there. Just don't jump on just because the party you're registered on your voter card says you have to do this. I mean, that's the thing about politics. That's the thing about, elections. You have your own thought process and you have your own agency to do whatever the hell you want. So go out there and do that. Our next story actually goes to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon actually came out. Actually, if you go to the LitTube blog, I actually wrote about this. I wrote a little opinion piece about this where he actually came out against Donald Trump Jr., virtually saying that they were colluding with the Russians, as most people have figured out they were colluding with them. There's some type of connection with them, but pretty much going to the point where there were these secret meetings and things were weird and that he was a traitor, this, that, and the other. But actually, update to that, he's been ousted from Brietbart News. Yeah, which is very interesting because Brietbart News is one of the leading news sources for the alt-right. And, of course, donors were back threatening to back out of it and everything. And it's just weird to me. Not weird, but almost impressive how fast they jumped on this to pretty much like, okay, dude, like, you're out.
Yeah, but I think, with Trump, it's just one of those things where, once people start coming out against him that are in his inner circle, they kind of do get banished, what I mean? And so it's not surprising to me that Bannon all of a sudden gets kicked off of Breitbart News and kind of is an outcast from that agency now. It doesn't surprise me at all. And I think you look at what's going on with Papadopoulos and some of these other guys that are in trouble right now for the potential Russian conspiracy we got going on. Yeah. It's crazy stuff, man. It really is.
Well, as I wrote in the article, Rebecca Mercer, who's one of the leading or one of the highest donors to Breitbart, actually, I believe she's on the board, actually at Breitbart, she threatened to pull money out. And as I wrote in the article, in this camp, money talks. And she, of course, is 100% a Trump supporter. There's no question about it. Total loyalty. And I think Steve Bannon, especially, it scared them because he was literally right next, right here, next to the president. He was in the presidency here. And him saying this is is a credible thing, I honestly believe. So when people hear that, wow, Steve Bannon saying this must be true. They start, the idea of that they may start to split off, the idea that they may start to question things that the president is doing. And I think that's when the big money backers probably came in and were like, nah, this guy's got to go.
Yeah, I think, again, we're going to find out in the coming months what's going to happen. There's also talk about how Bob Mueller is going to sit down and interview Donald Trump one-on-one. Wow. Apparently Trump's lawyers are trying to either stop it from happening or send in written responses. That's a story in and of itself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think there's enough Breitbarts or InfoWars or Fox News out there to really defend Donald Trump and what's about to come with this whole Russian investigation. Yeah. I mean, things have not played out yet. We still probably got months to go before we get to the bottom of it. But clearly someone's going to take the fall for this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see who the whipping boy is for this one, honestly. That's the thing. And I think when you and I first started reporting on all of this, I think we probably first had our first episode or article about this back early February of last year, March even. I expected this to be probably a quicker process. I thought, man, the stuff that's coming out against him, there's no way you survive it. This guy must have a Teflon suit because he has dodged everything. Nothing sticks to this guy. I don't know. I was really surprised. And at this point, I'm almost like, man, I might as well just, whatever. Maybe it might be the next 3 years. He probably won't get reelected before something even happens.
I think it's just a matter of the FBI needs to put together a foolproof case, make sure they know exactly everything that happened. But because you don't want to try to, like, not have the full information and then try to, like, prosecute Donald Trump, because that's not going to work. Like,
100%.
They have to figure out, like, so this stuff takes time, and I actually kind of like that they're taking their time to do everything. What's going to be interesting, though, is if there's some kind of move by the Trump administration to fire Mueller or do something else to, like, make the investigation fall apart. That's what I've actually been looking for, is if something's going to happen to make the FBI investigation fall apart prematurely.
I'm curious to know if that's going to happen, but I feel like if that happens, there will be protests and riots outside in D.C., no question. If somehow it turns out that the White House was able to interfere with this, to somehow intercept or cause a disruption for this, there would be a public outcry for his head. I have no question. I honestly, like you, I do respect that the FBI is taking their time to get in all the facts, because again, you don't want to jump to a conclusion. Again, even if you didn't vote for the guy, you do want justice to be served, because, at least for me, I would want justice to be served for me if I did something wrong, or at least them to, prove that I'm innocent in my mind if I didn't do the crime. But yeah, I mean, the time that's going to take, again, this is probably, we got another few months. It may even be November by the time anything really probably happens. But just Steve Bannon in general coming out, saying what he said, that does raise eyebrows.
Well, and there's already been too much proven to really, like, dismiss the whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
But, and basically the argument on the other side for, like, dismissing the investigation is, it's all this taxpayer money we're wasting on this. But I don't want to hear it, all right? You send one of these guys on a plane across the country and it's like $1 million. So whatever. Like,
this is like a drop in the bucket.
Pretty much. What about, remember when, like, Pence went to that Colts game? Just
yeah,
like,
who paid for that ticket?
just to, like, walk out after, like, they kneel for the anthem. Then he flies back. So he basically flew out to the game just to see, like, the anthem, then flew back. That's a couple $1 million right there.
Yeah. Not to mention you got to go to a football game. I don't get to go to those all the time. Jeez. Whatever. Well, thank you for tuning in to Over the Line. Again, these stories that we just talked about, we will be updating you on them through our blog and, of course, on the show. Also, we are looking for writers for our blog, WordPress, actually. We cover music, sports, news, politics, science, you name it, we cover it. If you're interested in getting on board with that, send us an email. I'll have Justin actually this week put our email in the info section. Send us an email, let us know if you want to join, and yeah, we'll check out your stuff. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and tune in again for another episode of Over the Line, and check out our other videos. Take care, guys.